Hi, I'm Avery Clark, and it's my privilege to serve as the Director of Community Engagement for Bell Socialization Services. I'd like to share a story with you about the Jones family, Monica, her daughter Kalena, and Kalena's little girl Ava. Now, Monica and Kalena, as adult women, would prefer to have their own homes, but they'd come to an arrangement and live together because they needed to do so to make ends meet on Kalena's income from her job and the payments that Monica receives from Social Security. Of course, it was also a benefit because Monica really enjoyed spending time with her granddaughter, and she was her primary caregiver while Kalena was at work. That is until Monica became ill. Her illness resulted in a long, extended stay in the hospital due to a very serious medical issue. And while she was there, of course, there was no one to watch Ava while Kalena was at work, and she couldn't afford alternative childcare, so she stayed home, which meant she lost her job. And without that income, they lost their housing. So while Monica was in the hospital, Kalena and Ava moved in with some other family members, but it wasn't long before Kalena realized that this was a toxic environment and it was no place for a child, and was certainly not going to work, as her mother was going to be coming out of the hospital to recover as well as manage some other health concerns. They knew they needed to get a different place to live. They were vulnerable, they were scared, and they recognized that they needed to ask for help. So they'd heard about Bell's Bridge Housing Program, and they applied. And in October of 2018, the Jones family entered into this transitional housing program. It was there that they were then able to start making some changes because they had a more solid ground to stand on. For the first time in a very long time, they were able to set goals and make plans for a future. Their caseworkers helped them out. They were able to learn how to set these goals for what they plan to achieve. They set a budget. They were strategic about managing their money, which resulted in them being able to afford to purchase a reliable car. So now Kalena could get back and forth to her new job, and Monica could get to all of her medical appointments as well. In March of that next year, the family had completed all of their goals. By early June, Monica was in her own home in the community, and just a couple weeks later, a spot opened up in public housing, and Kalena and Ava were able to move into their own place as well. Now, we don't often hear about how families are doing after they are no longer receiving services, but we had the chance to get an update on the Jones family in November, and we learned that both women are absolutely enjoying having their own space and making their home, and that all three members of the Jones family are thriving. As an employee of a United Way community partner agency, I see the impact of our programs on a first-hand basis every day. It's because of that that I make a pledge, and because of that, I encourage you to please join me by making a pledge to the United Way Community Fund. This year, more than before, we need you. Thanks.